Hi, I'm Randy Gerber. Thanks for joining us on another episode of the Founder Ride. As always, starting off sharing where I am on the ride, and definitely am in the light at the end of the tunnel stage. It's getting strong. Light's getting stronger and stronger, and feel better about where we're going. Today, we're talking about succession, and there's two types of succession I'd like to talk about. The first is your internal succession for your people on your team, and the second is succession for your organization. Both very different, both very important. Succession is important for all your stakeholders. It's important for you as a shareholder. It's important for you as a partner. If you have a partner, it's important for you from enterprise value. It's important for your customers and clients, and it's certainly important for your team. And so from my vantage point, you really can't start thinking about succession soon enough. There's a difference between thinking about it and doing something about it. I think so oftentimes entrepreneurs want to just put a succession plan in place and to have one to check the box, when in reality, oftentimes it's not the right plan. So I would probably, some counterintuitive advice would be, think about succession first and foremost. What does each stakeholder want? What do you want as the entrepreneur? What does the business need as an enterprise? What do your customers and clients need as well? And what does your team need? What do they need from you from succession? Really think that through, because there will be differences, and there may be even competing differences. And once you really think that through at that point in time, you can begin putting formal succession plans in place. It isn't easy. It is necessary. It's really important. And from my vantage point, you can't start doing it enough. Succession as it relates to internal succession is very different. And this is, arguably a more entrepreneur-centric, entrepreneur-focused, enterprise value driving set of decisions. But this is really around how do you, the team you have when you start the business is different than the team when you have $1 million of sales, different than your team at 10 million, different at 20, et cetera, et cetera. And you really need to think about internal succession from a variety of levels. Number one, what roles do you need? The roles that you start off with will evolve and change, and then you'll add more roles. And what do those roles look like as the business grows, as it gets more complicated and sophisticated? And then the people within those roles change too. So it's really a dual-edged sword. And you need to do this not only to create enterprise value or continue to grow the enterprise value, but also the innovation in your business is so important to keep the succession of your people to continue to innovate in your business and serve your customers better, serve your clients better, serve the market better. And it's so important, I think, that the internal succession really has to become a cultural dynamic within the business. It can't be something, again, you just check the box. I think it's something that has to become the fabric of your organization. I know from my own experience, we didn't do a very good job in the beginning at this at all, and frankly, I viewed my business as a practice versus a business. I viewed it as an income stream versus a business that creates enterprise value. And once we really started viewing this as its own separate entity that lives without Randy Gerber, lives and breathes without Randy Gerber, does it become obvious. It become like you feel foolish that you didn't do it sooner. And this type of succession, the internal succession, doesn't happen overnight, doesn't happen quickly. It's something that is an evolution, takes time. Eventually you get really good at it. Eventually good at it from the standpoint of identifying how those roles should change and morph, identifying the necessary skill sets of people within those roles, and then communicating that not only internally to your organization, but externally to the stakeholders who care about the business outside looking in. An experience I know you've heard me talk about before that I am just a huge believer in. I think from a role creation and people fulfillment of those roles, tools like Culture Index or Predictive Index, which are substantially similar to each other, are so critical. And said differently, it makes the job so much easier. I mean, to get the right people in the right seats, it's so much easier when you're using a tool like Culture Index or Predictive Index. I will warn you, engaging in a process like this, there's some pain involved for sure, because you realize pretty quickly you don't have the right people in the right seats. You may not even have the right seats on the bus at this point in time. So it's, while it it's a huge part of the answer. It's a process which involves pain, involves time. In my general opinion, that starting this process, it's a year to 2 years to get it right, but pretty quickly you see the light. You see where you're going with it. You understand what you're trying to do, and as time goes on, if you really immerse yourself with a tool like this, it does become part of your culture, part of the fabric of the organization, and your team understands it. They're not resistant to it. They understand it and engage in the process as well. So succession overall in one big huge bubble, it's so critical to think about it internally and organizationally. Make it part of the culture, make it part of a routine conversation. I think naturally it's on your mind anyways. Just let it be part of the process. As always, thank you for joining us. Feel free to reach out, ask any questions, and we'll see you in our next episode.